It's Wednesday the 24th of June, and in parliamentary terms it could well stay this way until Saturday, because later in the day today Parliament is going to go into urgency to do a lot of bills which were held up during COVID. But we'll start off as we normally do with oral questions. Todd Muller to the Prime Minister, both questions 1 and 2 about the pandemic and tracking people in the community. Deborah Russell to the Minister of Finance about supporting businesses through COVID-19. Paul Goldsmith about the possibility of job losses if the border is penetrated. Michael Woodhouse about examples of people mixing with guests when they're meant to be in managed isolation. Angie Warren-Clark to the Associate Minister of Health about funding for the health and disability system. Judith Collins to the Minister for Economic Development about construction projects. Kiritapu Allen to the Minister of Agriculture about jobs in the dairy sector. Chris Bishop to the Minister of Transport about light rail. Liz Craig to the Minister of Health about testing for COVID-19. Jenny Marcroft to the Minister of Defence about the replacement of the C-130 aircraft. And Simon O'Connor to the Minister of Customs about customs staff preparedness for people returning home. We will then have the general debate and then a sessional order regarding the COVID-19 Public Health Response Act. What that does is set up the way that the Regulations Review Committee will work to consider the orders made under that Act. Then Parliament will take urgency if the government gets the numbers, and there will be the appropriation 2019-20 Supplementary Estimates Bill, the committee stages and third reading, the third reading of the Impress Supply Bill, the electoral registration of sentenced prisoners, committee stages and third reading in the name of Andrew Little, the Greater Christchurch Regeneration Amendment Bill, committee stages, third reading Megan Woods, the Racing Industry Bill, committee stages, third reading Winston Peters, the Public Finance Wellbeing Amendment Bill, committee stages, third reading in the name of Grant Robertson, the Resource Management Amendment Bill, committee stages and third reading David Parker. Now, I think that'll probably take us through the evening tonight and tomorrow morning. I'll be back here for an update at 2 o'clock tomorrow, because there will be questions tomorrow, and at that point I can let people know how we're going and what's likely to come up on the rest of Thursday, Friday and possibly Saturday.